Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Today our adventuring party is exploring an underground cavern, and they encounter an area that is partially flooded. Depending on the height of the character, maybe it's up to their knees, up to their waist, but regardless, as they look above them, they're going to see some type of a gem, perhaps a diamond, that is in the ceiling. As they go and try to knock it out of its place, it comes tumbling down, and the characters, do they catch it? Or do they let it fall in the water? Today we're going to take a look at a trap that was created by a valued member of our Discord community, Thorn, and this trap is called Cold as Ice. Hey folks, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, join us on Patreon and Discord, and if you want more puzzles, be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, available now on DriveThruRPG. Now our trap is going to take place in some type of underground chamber or a cavern. The adventuring party is going to come down a corridor, and the area is going to get a little rough, and they're going to come down some stairs, and they're going to see a partially flooded chamber. Now this water is going to be about knee to waist deep, depending on the height of your characters. Now most characters are probably going to stop at the waterfront, and before they go in they're going to want to do some investigation, so it's up to you as to what types of checks for perception, investigation, what have you, before you try to steer them in the direction that it is actually safe water to enter. So now as our adventuring party enters the water, again, knee to waist deep, they're going to come into this main cavern, and they're going to be able to look around, and again, this is going to be up to you as the Dungeon Master as to what you want them to see in here. Now for me, I'm just going to make this a normal cavern. Perhaps there's a few pieces of collapsed walls and things of that nature, but regardless, what we need to do is we need them to take a look at the ceiling. So we need them to look up. I think probably the best idea is for maybe a bat to come flying in, and it catches one of the characters' attention, and then this bat flies up to the top of the ceiling, and they can see that there's a few other bats up there. But as they're looking up at the ceiling with all of these bats that are hanging from it, they're going to notice that in the middle of it is going to be a gem. Now how high the ceiling is going to be up to what abilities your characters have, because you want them to be able to knock this gem loose. Maybe they have someone that could shoot an arrow, maybe they have a 10-foot pole, or maybe they have some other way of trying to get this gem. They might even have a spider climb ability. We could work with that as well. Now from their position in the water, they're going to see that this gem looks very shiny, and it actually looks wet. Now as the rest of the party come in, I'm sure they're going to work up some type of a plan to try to get this gem from the ceiling. Now there's two ways, again, as mentioned before. They could try to use an object to knock it down, or they can go up and try to grab it themselves. So let's say they shoot an arrow, or they use some type of a 10-foot pole or some type of an object, and they knock the gem loose. The gem is going to come flying down, and we're going to need them to make a DC 15 sleight of hand check if they want to try to catch the gem. If they don't want to try to catch the gem, then they can just let it plunge into the water. Now let's say our wizard has a spider climb ability and decides to climb the walls and then on the ceiling to get it. The reason that it is wet and shiny is because it has some type of a slippery substance on it, and it is extremely cold to the touch. So when this wizard gets up there and tries to grab it, we're going to have that same DC 15 sleight of hand check, because the gem is going to be slippery and cold. Now the entire premise of having the trap going off is for the gem to hit the water. Now if they fail to catch it, or if they just let the gem fall in the water, what is going to happen is the entire chamber that is flooded with water is instantaneously going to become ice. And when it becomes ice, all of our characters are going to be restrained, and that is when we're going to bring in some monsters. Now it's up to you as the Dungeon Master, but I would probably have some ice mephits. They sound like a fun creature to have. So once the characters are submitted in the ice, then we're going to have 3 or 4 ice mephits come in and attack. Or perhaps we can have this swarm of bats fly down and attack the characters as they are cemented into the pond. Now I would probably allow our characters to use their action and perhaps a DC 20 athletics check to try to break the ice and get themselves free where they could stand on top of it. And then of course, if any of the characters want to help each other once they're free, then we can give advantage on those checks, or they can just take some time after the monsters are defeated and chisel each other out of the ice. Then of course we could also have the ice starting to melt as the time goes by. But the entire premise of the trap is for the gem that is on the ceiling to fall into the water, freeze them, and then our monsters are going to come in and attack. So I think the best part for us as the Dungeon Master running this trap is to take in the role of the evil Dungeon Master. As the characters knock that gem loose and it comes falling down, we just look at them and say, "Do you catch the gem?" And see what they do, just throwing that little bit of doubt in there. Because if they let it fall and hit, then everything's going to become covered with ice and they're going to be rooted in place. Now, of course, we're going to need a reason as to why they're trying to get it anyway. Why do they need that diamond or that gem that is on the ceiling? Perhaps they just went through a puzzle like the Prismatic Owl and they put in a bunch of different gems in different areas to activate some mechanisms or open some doors, and they see that gem as perhaps another key or device that's going to be able to help them in the future. Or of course they could be on a quest to find a diamond for a cleric in order to bring someone back to life, or it's a diamond, it's worth a lot of money, they just might want it. Now what happens if they actually catch the gem? Is it going to freeze their hands, causing a bunch of cold damage where they just drop it anyway? Or do they have something to unlock a different area? One of the things that I thought of is you have this frozen cold diamond, and perhaps as they go on, they find this pond that is full of man-eating fish like barracuda or piranha. And in order to get across, they need to freeze the pond to walk across, and now they have the object to freeze the pond. Now the original idea for this trap was to be set in more of a high-tech setting. So instead of having it in a ceiling and a cavern, you would actually pull like a string or a rope to bring down a staircase for an attic or something along those lines. And when you did, coming tumbling out of it would be this gem. So they wouldn't even see the gem. They go and try to open something by pulling a string or a lever. And then as it comes down, they try to catch it or they let it fall. And once again, this was an idea that was submitted by Thorn, a valued member of our Discord. Thank you very much for submitting the idea and letting me present it on my channel. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of the trap? Is this something that you could use in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? Be sure to leave a comment below and let's get a discussion going. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next. Okay, so one more idea, and that's going to involve the ice method. So if you don't want to run the trap portion, if you just want to create like a monster encounter, rather than having that diamond or that gem on the ceiling, perhaps we still enter this room, the water's up to their waist, up to their knees, or what have you, and these 4 ice methods come flying in, and each one of them has a diamond, or at least one of them does. And they're 10 to 20 feet hovering above all of the characters, and they just drop it. And that would be fun to see. Are the characters, are they going to get out of the way because they don't know what it is? Or are they going to try to catch it when the method drops it? Or something like that. I much prefer the trap, but if you're not into traps and you just want a monster type encounter, I think that would be fun as well. And also, this is my new area. I had to clean out my other room that I recorded in. So now I'm in my office, everything in one room. And tried to recreate what I had before the best I could. But it may take a little bit getting used to. I'm still trying to get the angles right and everything else. But yeah, so here I am in this area here with a different color wool and stuff like that. So that's all I have for you. Once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next video.